The first episode of Severance Season 2 has finally arrived, and there's a lot to break down surrounding the Apple TV Plus series. For me, this episode was a great return to the show, which we have been waiting 3 years for, and it leaves you with questions surrounding everything happening with the outie versions of the main characters after the Season 1 finale. And based on the description for Episode 2, it does look like we're going to be getting more on that next week. But in this video, I'm going to be breaking down the plot and explaining the ending of Season 2 Episode 1 in the aim to help you guys put together a much greater picture of the Severance narrative. This analysis will contain spoilers, so if you do happen to be someone who hasn't seen the episode yet, then I would recommend watching this video after you've seen it. Before I get into it though, if you want to keep up to date on all of my Severance videos coming over the next few weeks, then don't forget to support this upload by giving it a like rating and subscribing to the channel. But without further ado, let's dive into my explained video for Severance Season 2 Episode 1. So Severance Season 2 has released on Apple TV, bringing back the acclaimed sci-fi series after 3 years. After a great first season, the show picks up right where it left off. The intriguing premise revolves around a near-future world where employees have had their consciousness severed, creating a divide between their outie lives and their professional selves, known as innies. The concept brilliantly reflects the monotony of corporate life, while also weaving in layers of genuine mystery that highlight the surreal nature of a capitalist society. Season 2 picks up 5 months after Helly's public criticism of Lumon Industries, where she accused them on stage of torturing the innies. Also, Mark S. made a startling discovery in finding out that Lumon wellness counsellor Miss Casey resembles his deceased wife. But right at the start of Season 2's opener, Mark's innie self grapples with the shock of being back at Lumon, where he is further troubled by the absence of his former team, who have now been replaced by workers Gwendolyn, Mark W, and Dario. Alongside this, they are led by the newly promoted floor supervisor, Milchick. So Lumon appears to have undergone some changes following the innie uprising in macro data refinement, and Mark remains deeply concerned about what has happened to his old colleagues. Mark eventually decides to stir the pot by attempting to frame Mark W as he writes a threatening note on Lumon stationery directed at Mark W's outie. Milchick immediately recognises the note and reads it out. The new team is also left angry, bombarding Mark S with questions, but he just wants his original team back. After being demoted from department chief, Mark S diverts Milchick and the others by faking a sabotage of the kitchen and then dashing down the hallway to Milchick's office, which was previously ran by Harmony Cobel. Mark seizes the office speaker linked to the Lumon board and pleads for a reconnection with Helly, Dylan, and Irving. In response, Milchick catches up to Mark, stops him, and leads him back to the elevator. And despite Mark's belief that he has been let go, he finds himself back at Lumon the following day, with Dylan, Irving, and Helly stepping out of the elevator right behind him. So the Macrodat uprising may have tarnished Lumon's image, yet it could also have provided the company with a fresh strategy to manage the innies that threaten them. Through their collaboration during the overtime contingency process, the innies fostered a strong sense of community. With Mark's return, his refusal to collaborate with the new MDR staff, and his request for the board to reinstate his old staff likely presented the board with a chance to maintain his compliance and oversight. And as expected, the board's genuine intentions will likely unfold in the episodes to come. But coming to the return of Mark's old team, they are welcomed back by severed floor deputy manager Miss Huang, a child, and then head to a meeting with Milchick. They arrive at the break room, but instead of facing any form of punishment, they are greeted by Milchick and arrive to comfortable chairs and a TV in front of them. Clearly, Milchick has opted for showing them some sort of video over giving them his own statement. Milchick informs Mark and the team that the video they are about to watch is what every innie will experience after this meeting, expressing his hope that it will convey Lumon's sentiments. The video, titled Lumon is Listening, showcases a clay animation featuring a talking Lumon administrative building. To our surprise, this animated character is voiced by none other than the legendary Keanu Reeves, who discusses the numerous changes that have taken place since 1870 and highlights that Lumon now operates in 206 countries. The animated building reflects on the McArdle uprising, showcasing scenes of Mark and his team in action, including their discovery of the security office from the end of Season 1. A dramatic reenactment features Irving declaring that they burn this place to the ground, while Mark and Helly share that passionate kiss. The narrator also highlights the positive changes that have emerged from their rebellion, such as upgraded snacks in the vending machines, new hall passes, and a mirror room somehow designed to make them feel less controlled because it's playful. The animated figure expresses gratitude to the company founder Keir for the bravery of the innies during the McArdle uprising before the video concludes. And just before leaving the break room, Milchick presents all four of them with a big choice. He says that they can remain at Lumon for a fresh start or leave the company entirely. So Lumon appears to have recognised the potential to take advantage of the strong bonds formed among the MDR workers. Despite the uprising posing a risk to its privacy, the company sees an opportunity in the loyalty that has flourished within this group. If the innies cultivate their own distinct identities and lives within the work-based environment, they may become less inclined to connect with their outies, and this shift would ultimately make them more susceptible to control. Reversely, the company further recognises that employees like Mark are unlikely to depart as they have compelling reasons to stay. As the innies begin to view themselves as distinct from their outies, the organisation understands their reluctance to make a drastic decision that could jeopardise their well-being. Thus, the option presented to them to leave is nothing more than a facade, crafted to give workers the illusion of their own control. As the crew finds a moment of privacy in the break room, they begin to exchange tales from their lives above ground, particularly from the Season 1 finale when they made the switch. Mark shares that his outie is acquainted with the author Rick in Hell, and intriguingly, Harmony Cobel as well. But the most startling revelation comes when Mark discloses that his outie's wife was believed to have passed away years ago, yet she is actually the missing Miss Casey, who we witnessed being taken below. Helly, on the other hand, when discussing her story, fabricates it, stating that her outie was home alone, lounging in sweatpants while watching television, until she finally revealed the truth to a gardener she encountered outside. Irving probes her about this alleged gardener, and when he's asked, he says that it's not their world outside and exits the room. As Dylan races off to track down Irving, Mark and Helly stroll together, during which Helly probes Mark about his intentions. Mark expresses his desire to assist his outie, but Helly counters this by pointing out that innies and outies are fundamentally different and that they aren't obligated to support their outies. Nevertheless, she agrees to help Mark locate Miss Casey, who appears to be an innie like them. However, Helly's demeanour hints at some skepticism, suggesting that her innie may have not returned at all. Instead, I believe that this is actually Helena, her outie, who might have intentionally entered the office to monitor the other Lumon employees closely. This is because during her conversation with Mark, she highlights that the MDR has removed its cameras, and then also her unwavering faith in Lumon indicates that she may not be her innie self. Among the MDR staff, only Irving senses that something is wrong with her, and when she mentions her experiences outside, Irving then questions why a gardener would be at her home during the winter nights. So it appears he has suspicions surrounding Helly and Lumon's recent activities. And this is a part of the reason why he does eventually stay and is motivated to uncover the truth behind their situation. We see that Dylan stops Irving from leaving through the exit, and Irving reveals to him that he encountered Christopher Walken's character Bert on the outside and discovered that he was married, leaving Irving emotionally crushed. As he tries to walk out the door, Dylan urges him to reconsider and stay a little longer. Irvin further says to him during their heartfelt hug that he had awakened in an apartment prior to his visit with Britt. He tells him that his outie had created several paintings depicting a long shadowy corridor that led to a black door marked with a downward arrow, and he felt it was crucial for Dylan to understand the significance of this before he departs. This looks to be the same corridor that Miss Casey went to when we saw her descend at the end of season 1. As they embrace, Dylan expresses his condolences about Britt, but reassures Irvin that it was Britt who had truly held his heart. Irving longs for his suffering to end, yet Dylan insists that neither Bertzini nor he would wish for Irving to go. So he urges Irving to stay and uncover the mystery surrounding the enigmatic door. With Irving's Britt experience and the strange occurrences currently unfolding, he eventually resolves to stay. This brings us to the ending of episode 1, where we get some info on Dylan and an interesting tease surrounding Miss Casey. Dylan is summoned to meet Milchick, bracing himself for yet another tense encounter. Instead, he is surprised to learn that his outie's wife is named Gretchen. After giving him this info, Milchick then guides Dylan through a hidden door in his office, expressing regret for not being more attuned to Dylan's needs. He shares with him that Lumon is developing an outie family visitation room, a secret told only to Dylan. Since all of Dylan's colleagues are single, Milchick is concerned about potential jealousy among them. And after promising to keep this information confidential, Dylan returns to the MDR office, where the team have decided to remain at Lumon, including Irvin. This transitions into the final shot of the episode, where Mark begins to work on refining some macro data, and the screen shifts to another computer screen displaying a project called Cold Harbor, showing a progress percentage of 68%. It reveals Miss Casey's face alongside live statistics, suggesting that the macro data refinement is linked to her mysterious absence. So what are my current theories based on this ending scene? Well, after the conclusion of season 1, numerous fans speculated that the MDR department might be assisting Lumon in perfecting the Severance chips by categorizing human emotions into the 4 Keir-Egan temperaments. These are dread, woe, frolic, and malice. In essence, the employees are engaged in tasks that help ensure the chip subjects become more compliant. Mark is particularly focused on Gemma's file, as he has a deeper understanding of her than anyone else. So if this theory holds true, Gemma or Miss Casey's return to the testing room at the end of season 1 suggests that her display of human emotions towards Mark made her a less desirable employee. The final moments of the episode subtly indicate that Mark is focused on Gemma's 25th build, implying that he has been perfecting her from the very start. This could also clarify why Mark experienced his freshman fluke after joining Lumon, as he was consistently dealing with a file he already knew well. And finally, the significance of Cold Harbor may still be a mystery, but it could relate to cryogenic technology or the transformation of individuals into emotionally detached beings. Following her accident, Gemma was likely placed in a suspended state, potentially through cryogenic preservation. As a result, she lacks an outie and is presumed dead. But conversely to this, if Lumon aims to alter her into a more emotionally distant person, their goal might be to strip her of complex human feelings, making her the perfect employee. I think if I'm going to agree with any theory, it would be the second one, because that would link him with all the strange things we've been seeing from Lumon. Miss Casey also seemed quite robotic in the footage we got of her, minus her season 1 moment with Mark, and the way she's acted might link him with what Lumon are trying to achieve. We'll just have to see how the season builds upon all of this, and I'm excited to see how the mysteries of season 2 continue to develop in the episodes to come. But that was my video explaining the plot and ending for Severance Season 2 Episode 1. I do hope this breakdown helped some of you guys understand the events and smaller details of the episode a bit better, and overall, I'm looking forward to hearing your thoughts on it, so don't forget to let me know down below in the comment section. For much more videos and news on shows like Severance, then subscribe to the channel and turn on your notifications. Also, if you enjoyed this video, remember to leave a like, rating, and follow me on social media via the links in the description. But anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed it. I've been Cortex, and as always, make some noise.